On the day of my college entrance exam, while waiting for the bus, I encountered a girl who suddenly suffered a heart attack. Being kind-hearted, I saved her. After leaving the exam room, social media exploded. She posted a tearful video accusing me of taking advantage of her while saving her, adding that no girl would ever sacrifice her innocence to falsely accuse someone. That single statement nailed me to the pillar of shame. I suppressed my resentment, scored 658 points, and eagerly awaited interviews from mainstream media to clear my name. Instead, I received news that my parents had been tragically killed, run over by an extremist student couple. When I woke up, I was back on the road to the bus stop. I'll just take my time. Oh, this stone is so big and round. Wow, this tree is so lush and green. The flowers smell wonderful. I had been reborn. Reborn on my way to the college entrance exam. In my previous life, because the exam hall was quite far, I had set off 2.5 hours early. I took the bus to the exam venue. While waiting for the bus, a girl next to me suddenly had a heart attack. My mother is a nurse, and I had learned CPR, so I immediately gave her first aid. I waited for the ambulance to arrive before rushing to my exam. The moment I left the exam room, I found social media condemning me. That girl was Luna Zhang, also an examinee. In the video, she sat on a hospital bed, eyes brimming with tears, claiming I had taken advantage of her while she was unconscious. Since there were no surveillance cameras at the bus stop, and it was early, no one else was there to witness or testify for me. Luna Zhang's statement, "No girl would ever sacrifice her innocence to falsely accuse someone else," nailed me to the pillar of shame. Online bullying crashed down on me like a flood. My mother was a nurse, and my father ran a small conveyor belt hotpot restaurant. The moment Luna Zhang's video was posted, our restaurant was vandalized and forced to close. My mother was humiliated at the hospital, splattered with filth. I knew that only by achieving a high score could I compel authoritative media to speak up for me. So, I suppressed my fear and anger and continued with the exams. When the results were announced, I scored 658 points, enough to get into Tsinghua or Peking University. That day, Luna Zhang jumped from the hospital rooftop. Dead. Her parents demanded 2 million yuan in compensation from my family, hung banners in our apartment complex, and insisted I pay. My parents couldn't bear the harassment, losing sleep. While driving to make a delivery, they were pursued by independent bloggers, crashing into a large truck driven by that extremist student couple. Both died. I was also surrounded and beaten, barely escaping. When I reached my front door, I accidentally slipped on oil on the stairs and fell to my death. Even my glasses flew off. Through my blurry vision, I saw Marley, the neighbor's daughter from across the hall, holding a bottle of oil, her eyes filled with hatred and malicious glee. Now I'm reborn just 50 meters from the bus stop. This small path leads straight there after one turn. Through the sparse shadows of the trees at the corner, I could vaguely see Luna Zhang's figure, but I didn't look that way at all. Instead, I tiptoed to pluck a rose from the wall, fastening it to my buttonhole. Then I took out my earphones from my backpack. Following an English app that read out vocabulary words, I spoke and gestured with my hands. There was a small pebble by the road, and I kicked it. Accidentally, it hit a utility pole, bounced back, and then rolled into the drainage ditch by the road. In the empty alley, only the sound of the rolling stone could be heard. Luna Zhang stumbled like a drunk, while I turned back to chase the stone, jumping into the ditch, only to be hit by a low wild bush, causing my glasses to fall off. So I took off my glasses, put them in their case, and slipped them into my backpack. The ditch had no water, only dry leaves and stones. I resolutely put down my backpack, rolled up my sleeves, and searched for each stone one by one. From largest to smallest, I arranged them neatly on the curb. They were so round and beautiful, sparkling like gems under the sun. I took pictures and posted them to my social media feed. In my previous life, I would have already been at the bus stop by this time and discovered Luna Zhang having a heart attack. It must be the same now. I clicked away, taking a series of photos, posting them. So many stones, I couldn't possibly carry them all. Finally, I chose a heart-shaped one, carefully wiping it clean with a tissue, held it up to the sun, and loudly read, "Heart, heart, Heart." After a while, I even started singing until tears welled up. I'm nearly 4 diopters nearsighted, unable to distinguish gender from a few dozen meters away. Even trees just look like green blurs. But now, getting closer, I smelled the flowers and realized the tree at the corner was a gardenia tree. Through the iron fence, I could see pristine white gardenia blossoms on the tree. The fragrance was intoxicating. Inside was a small garden where an old man was watering flowers, with dogs and cats running around playfully. Under the eaves, a round camera was pointed directly at me. I took off my earphones and shouted, "Grandpa, your gardenias smell so wonderful." The old man happily picked a flower for me. Through the iron fence, he asked, "Are you a college entrance examinee, child?" I nodded. "Yes, sir, I'm on my way to the exam hall." The old man smiled kindly. "I wish you great success. May your name be inscribed on the golden bang." I said gratefully, "Thank you for your kind wishes, Grandpa." The old man saw the rose pinned to my collar, picked up a few larger, more beautiful stones for me, and also plucked several bowl-sized gardenia blossoms. This delay took another 10 minutes. Finally, a few retired elderly women carrying vegetable baskets and eco-friendly bags walked this way. They also seemed to be heading to the bus stop. I held over a dozen large gardenias and followed behind them. One woman in a floral shirt with curly hair smelled the flowers, turned around, and called to me, "Young man, where did you get these flowers?" I squinted, then remembered I hadn't put on my glasses. I pulled them out of my pocket, put them on, and said, "The old man up ahead gave them to me. Do you like them? I'll give you some." I shared 5 blossoms with her. The other ladies each received 2, and we continued towards the bus stop. I didn't see Luna Zhang, only a faintly crushed green belt beside the bus stop, obscured by the bus stop sign. No one noticed anything unusual for a while. I sniffed the flowers, strolling leisurely at the back. As I neared the stop, the bus I needed finally arrived. I chased after the bus, shouting, "Driver!" The driver opened the door in a drift-like manner, but the bus didn't stop completely. I took a long stride onto the bus, found a seat by the left window in the very last row, and put my earphones back on. The bus door remained open, but no one else boarded. At the stop, the old ladies were chattering about the college entrance exam. The bus door closed and continued moving. It wasn't until the bus left the stop that a white-haired old woman discovered Luna Zhang's phone lying on the ground, then spotted her, screaming loudly. So scared she fell to the ground, the other ladies rushed to help her up. Luna Zhang lay in the green belt, covered in mud, her face pale. I, from start to finish, never turned my head. After being reborn, I could have gone home and had my dad drive me, or taken a different route, or called a taxi. I could even have just flagged down any car on the road. People in this city are very enthusiastic. If I just told them I was an examinee, they would willingly drive me to the exam hall. But why should I change? Why should I run? Is this road his? I have to be right where he can reach me. I want to watch him slide inch by inch into hell without a single leaf touching me. I want him to look in despair towards the turn where I came from and see nothing but emptiness. It's best if he just dies like that. If not, he'll spend the rest of his life thinking, if only I had walked a little slower then, or taken a different path, Ethan would have arrived. Repentance is for the wicked, not for the good. This is murder aimed straight at the heart. The smooth journey to the exam hall still had 20 minutes left. This was my second time taking the college entrance exam. Compared to the tension and nervousness of nearly being late last time, this time I was calm, relaxed, and completed the exam smoothly. After getting home and eating before my midday nap, I glanced at my phone. No news about Luna Zhang. When I woke up, both my parents were home. My mom handed me a wet towel to wipe my face, saying, "This morning, an examinee who had a sudden heart attack at the bus stop was brought to our hospital and is in the ICU. We don't know if they'll make it." My dad said he'd heard about it too, adding, "What a pity, so young." "Son, you still have exams. Don't talk about these things, lest you scare him." My parents were kind-hearted, still feeling sympathy for him for not being able to take the exam. They didn't know that in my previous life, our entire family was killed by him. Didn't he say I saved him unprofessionally and took advantage of him? He must prefer the current outcome. In the afternoon, I continued with the exams, but I didn't want to take the bus anymore. I asked my dad to drive me on his electric bike. Having lost them once, I now especially cherished the time I spent with them. My dad removed the basket from the back, meticulously wiped the seat with a cloth, sweetly complaining, "My grown son is even taller than me now, there's no room for his legs." I was 18, 1.92 meters tall. My dad was only 1.7 meters. I'd been taller than him since middle school. How was he just noticing now? I squeezed onto the bike, put on my helmet, and placed my hand on his shoulder. Dad, after the college entrance exam, can we go back to our hometown to visit Grandma and Grandpa? My dad gently twisted the throttle. How can we? You're about to go to college. I still need to save money to buy you a house. I leaned my forehead against his broad shoulder, my eyes slightly moist. Money can always be earned, but the summer vacation after the college entrance exam only happens once. Besides, our whole family hasn't gone back to our hometown together in 3 years. I miss them. Because of the college entrance exam, I stayed in Jiangcheng for tutoring during the Lunar New Year. My parents always had to have one person stay to take care of me, so they visited separately. My dad hesitated. I tugged at him. An 18-year-old boy, after so many years, was finally acting spoiled. My dad almost couldn't take it. Sit still, boy. I obediently sat still. My dad grinned from ear to ear. All right, I just received a new shipment today. We'll sell for one more day, then no more new stock. The day after tomorrow, we'll go home and we can check your scores there so Grandma and Grandpa will be happy too. Entering the exam room, I turned around and saw my dad pushing his electric bike, looking at me with loving eyes. My eyes welled up again. I raised my fist towards him in a gesture of encouragement. Ethan, go for it. The exam went very smoothly. I was naturally a good student, a budding Tsinghua/Peking University student in the eyes of my teachers. If it weren't for Luna Zhang's incident, I would have had a bright future. Leaving the exam room, my dad came to pick me up again. Ethan, are you hot? Are you tired? Are you hungry? My dad opened a thermos, poured me water, and asked incessantly. I drank the water, stretched. Dad, right now, I just want to sleep. In my previous life, after the Luna Zhang incident, I never had a good night's sleep, and I'd been taking exams all day. Now my eyelids were almost glued shut. My dad quickly said, Right, conserve your energy. Tomorrow you still have a whole long day of exams. He drove me home. My mom was still on the night shift and my dad went to cook. I showered, dried my hair, and went back to my room. I opened my phone. The internet was still peaceful. It seemed that without my help, Luna Zhang's condition was severe, preventing him from causing trouble. But I knew too well how difficult his family was. Trouble still lay ahead. Actually, he and I were middle school classmates, but not long after 7th grade started, I tested into the gifted class, so I had no impression of him. He was the one who revealed this in the video, claiming I had coveted him since school. Only him? He was like a sewer rat, his hair always greasy, as if he hadn't washed it in 2 months, and he always had a strange smell. A photo of the two of us side by side, claiming I harassed him, was completely unconvincing. If he hadn't died, I absolutely would have had a chance to turn the tables. Unfortunately, there's no if. In my previous life, when I was being cyberbullied, I received an anonymous photo. In a messy room like a storeroom, the walls were covered with my photos, along with all sorts of small items I had lost, for example, a wiping cloth, a water bottle lost while playing basketball, a used pen, even old underwear and torn sneakers. The caption accompanying the photo was, Luna Zhang's house. So Luna Zhang had always been tracking my life, even resorting to theft. Luna Zhang was a pervert, moreover, the kind that didn't care about life or death. His appearance at that bus stop on the day of the college entrance exam was no accident. It had been meticulously planned. Luna Zhang's parents, favoring boys over girls, intended to marry him off after he graduated high school. In my previous life, he called me before he died, saying that if I agreed to marry him and give his parents 1 million yuan as a bride price, he would go online and clarify everything. My feeling was like a rat demanding I kiss it. I was so disgusted I threw up. After that, he jumped off the building. When he called, I recorded it, but it was useless. The phrase, "the deceased is always right," made it impossible for me to clear my name. But I didn't understand how he knew I would take the bus there. I thought back to my death in the previous life. In a haze, I saw Marley, the neighbor from across the hall. Marley and I were in the same grade but different classes. Our two families had been neighbors for over a decade but had never interacted. Her parents were private school teachers, extremely strict with her. Her waking, eating, homework, and sleeping times were all meticulously planned, down to the minute. If she exceeded the time or failed to complete an item, she would be punished. My room and hers were adjacent. Countless times, I heard her parents scolding her, calling her a pighead, saying she was not even as good as the hot pot seller next door. Before my dad opened his restaurant, he sold spicy hot pot for a while at the entrance of the apartment complex, which was well received by the market before he opened a proper restaurant. Later, he earned money, bought the premises, and upgraded it to a conveyor belt hotpot. Although running a small business isn't as prestigious as being a teacher, they earn money with their own hands. On what grounds did they look down on others? I was a good student, striving to bring honor to my parents, working even harder. Every exam, I placed first in the grade, becoming the child everyone talks about in the mouths of parents in the neighborhood. The couple next door would mention me even more when scolding their child. Meanwhile, my parents would smile openly, gentle and loving towards me. It was highly likely Marley was jealous. The next day, the college entrance exam continued, and I performed even better than in my previous life. Tsinghua or Peking University was definitely not a problem. Leaving the exam room, I told my dad I was going out with friends, but actually, I went to the electronics market and bought 3 hidden cameras. I acted with a clear conscience, and I was tall and strong. The 2 of them combined couldn't beat me, but I feared they would play dirty, so I had to be prepared. One camera was installed at my main door, hidden outside with a holographic New Year's charm, making it very difficult to detect. One was installed inside the house, and one was placed on top of my room window, angled slightly to capture 2/3 of Marley's room. If she opened her door, it could even capture her living room. The moment I finished installing them and connected them to the monitoring app on my phone, I was so scared I nearly dropped my phone. On the wall opposite Marley's bed, there was a half-body photo of me, with a giant red X drawn over it, the liquid resembling blood and my face completely ruined by darts. I finally confirmed it. In my previous life, she was also one of the main culprits who caused my death. The person who sent me that anonymous photo in my previous life must have been her too. I had tried to trace that account later, but it had been deleted. However, at this moment, the photo had not yet been sent. I registered a new account, searched, and indeed found Marley's account. It might have been a secondary account, without many posts, but enough to be terrifying, filled with dog and cat abuse. The locations of the photos were our apartment complex and a nearby small park. Thinking of being neighbors with this kind of pervert for over a decade, I immediately broke out in a cold sweat. I quickly took screenshots, recorded the entire screen content I saw, and used a secondary account to document and share it. In her following list, I found a familiar avatar. After logging into my main account, I saw a similar person in my fan list. This person hadn't posted anything, but I had an impression of her. Previously, whenever I posted, she would definitely view it dozens of times. I suspected she was Luna Zhang. At this point, I placed the heart-shaped stone I had found earlier and the jasmine plant on my balcony. I took a photo of them together and posted it. I also shared a sweet post about childhood sweethearts. The second day after the college entrance exams ended, my mother took half a month of annual leave. My dad closed the restaurant for a break. Our family of 3 went back to our hometown. I enjoyed myself thoroughly in the countryside, still keeping an eye on Luna Zhang's situation. Sure enough, on the 6th day he was in the ICU, he finally woke up. And just like in my previous life, he went online to accuse everyone who had been at the bus stop at that time. The 7 old ladies, me, and even the bus driver, claiming we saw death and did not save him. Me, the bus driver, the 7 old ladies, and netizens. But he was indeed pitiful because of the prolonged delay. From the onset of his heart attack until he was discovered, 20 minutes passed, and the old lady who found him didn't know how to give first aid. Waiting for the ambulance took another 20 minutes, totaling 40 minutes, which caused irreversible damage to his body. First, malignant arrhythmia and frequent myocardial ischemia meant he couldn't withstand any stimulation, or he could go into cardiogenic shock or cardiac arrest at any moment. Second, brain damage. When he was unconscious, his heart stopped for about 4 to 6 minutes, causing irreversible damage to brain cells. Third, prolonged hypoxia led to severe kidney failure, meaning he would be reliant on dialysis for the rest of his life. He was only 18, taking his college entrance exam, the most critical time of his life, only to suffer such a devastating setback. Just because he was so tragic, should passers-by like us pay for his tragedy? And just like in my previous life, all of us who appeared at the bus stop had our information dug up by netizens. Clearly, I was the last to leave, yet I was the first one to be exposed. Simply because I was also a college entrance examinee, someone posted a photo of me leaving my house at 6:30 a.m. online, claiming that I clearly only needed 5 minutes to walk to the bus stop, yet I deliberately dragged it out until 7:15 a.m. to appear there. To take a step back and say, if I walked so slowly, don't I bear any responsibility? What a step back. Another step back and I'd be directly at the exam hall. I walked and took photos. My post about the stones was posted at 6:50 a.m. My dad recognized the old man who gave me gardenias. He was a regular customer at our restaurant. He contacted him and requested the surveillance video from his yard. The timestamp was clear, and even the conversation between me and the old man was perfectly clear. At 7:00 a.m., I was still fertilizing flowers with him. Although very close to the bus stop, it was around a corner, completely out of sight of the stop. The old man even helped me get surveillance footage from several houses behind his, proving I was always on that small path. It wasn't until the group of old ladies appeared that I caught the bus. And the bus's onboard camera also proved that I boarded the bus before it even reached the stop. I had never actually been *@ the stop. I never even met Luna Zhang. If I could be blamed for that, then are the gentle breeze and fresh morning air also at fault? I had enough evidence. Even if someone tried to manipulate public opinion, it would be useless. Instead, it garnered me more sympathy. After all, I was just a high school student, walking my own path, bothering no one, yet forced to return to my hometown, unable to even run my family business. Those old ladies were even more resilient. Upon discovering him, they immediately called 120, and someone even recorded a video, enough to prove that from the moment he was discovered until the ambulance took him away, no one touched Luna Zhang. This nipped any potential extortion in the bud. Seeing Luna Zhang's family being so unreasonable, they immediately hired lawyers to sue them. Indeed, your aunties are still your aunties, especially the one with frizzy hair who was a dominant figure in Jiangcheng, unlike me, who was too naive. In this life, I'd rather be selfish than help someone who falls by the roadside. No matter how noisy the internet became, our family of 3 did not respond. On the day Luna Zhang woke up, I noticed that his account had accessed my social media profile over 100 times. So every day I posted a photo of jasmine flowers, without writing anything, just using various pink M-shaped stickers to decorate. He went crazy, accessing it every few minutes. He was still scrolling at 3:00 a.m. I truly wished he would drop dead from staying up all night. Unfortunately, bad things live for 1,000 years. Not only did he not die, he even live-streamed online to garner sympathy, saying his family was so poor that even his ICU expenses were debt. As a college entrance examinee, he naturally had hot keywords and traffic, and his words sounded somewhat pitiful. Indeed, quite a few people donated to him. Finally, the college entrance exam scores were announced. Our whole family gathered around the computer. In my previous life, under such immense pressure, I still scored 658 points. This time, I didn't know how many points I got. Anyway, when we checked, my score wasn't displayed. My grandpa's eyes widened. He thought the internet in the countryside was bad. Why isn't it there? My dad refreshed several times. Still nothing. He was so anxious he broke a sweat. I supported my grandpa, afraid he'd get too excited and fall, and whispered, "Grandpa, the top 50 scores of the college entrance exam don't display individual scores." My parents also reacted, shouting at each other, jumping up and down, attracting uncles, aunts, and other relatives nearby. Everyone saw their excited expressions, combined with my identity as an examinee and guest. Did Ethan get into Tsinghua or Peking University? Everyone in the village shared the same surname. If I got into Tsinghua/Peking, it would bring honor to our ancestors. My grandpa's hands trembled. I patted his back, quickly calling my dad, "Dad, look at Grandpa." My grandpa waved his hand, turned, and hugged me, tears brimming in his eyes. My good grandson, he joyfully ordered my dad, "What are you standing there for? Go to town and order vegetables, order meat, and inform the relatives. Prepare a big feast. And check the almanac to see which day is best for the party." My uncle, a construction contractor, upon hearing that my college exam score was so high it wasn't even displayed, immediately said, "Why order anything? I still have a big black pig from last year that I'd saved for this celebration. Kill it, I also have liquor. I'll cover everything. Uncle, I even have Maudai." The whole village was bustling. People came and went. Just then, my dad's phone rang. I looked at the number and knew it was from Tsinghua University's admissions office. I quickly prompted him, "It's from Beijing." My dad's hands trembled. He tried to answer several times but couldn't. My grandpa angrily snatched the phone, muttering, "Useless, answer it." His voice unconsciously shot up. "Hello, I'm his grandpa. No, I'm Ethan's grandpa. Yes, yes, good, good, thank you. Good, good, thank you." My dad leaned his ear in. Their two faces almost clamped the phone. My mom and grandma hugged each other, crying and laughing. The call ended. My grandpa and dad both had tears in their eyes. Each hugged me from one side. "Ethan, it's Tsinghua University. You got into Tsinghua University?" Only then did I know I had scored 702 points, the top scorer in the province. The TV station had also called. The local TV station from my hometown came directly to our village. I accepted the interview. Countless parents with children taking the college entrance exam praised me endlessly. I became famous online. The previous incident of being slandered by Luna Zheng became a hot topic again. It shot straight to the top of the search trends. I received much more sympathy. Conversely, Luna Zheng was mercilessly cursed. His real photos and poor academic performance were dug up. His livestream room was filled with insults, calling him ugly and manipulative. The principals of my middle and high schools in Jiangcheng continuously called my dad. My dad couldn't sit still. He wanted to go back to Jiangcheng. He had a business to run, money to earn, so the celebration party for my college admission could only be postponed for a few days. My grandparents had no objections. They were both afraid that if we weren't home, my admission notice would be stolen. In their time, many university spots were usurped by others. I still wanted to stay in the countryside. I wanted to wait until Luna Zheng's matter was fully resolved, but our whole family was pushed into the car and driven back to Jiangcheng. We were surrounded like celebrities. "The top scorer is back." We were mobbed, forced to get out of the car. My dad was a businessman, familiar with everyone in the neighborhood, and everyone knew him. "Boss Sheng, how do you and your wife usually teach your son? How did he score 702 points?" "Oh, not much teaching. He's always been in the top 3 of his grade. What does he usually eat? What books does he read? He eats our hot pot. Our hot pot has beef bone broth. Look how tall and strong he is. He grew up drinking beef bone broth." My dad pushed me in front of everyone, 1.92 meters tall. Truly a talent. I knew he was a future top scorer. The old ladies touched me all over, saying they wanted to catch some good luck so their children and grandchildren would also succeed next year. I finally escaped, wanting to go home, but my dad threw me a set of keys. "You too, Mom and son, hurry to the restaurant, open it, and clean up a bit. I'm going to get supplies. We'll work hard these few days to earn enough tuition for you." He had underestimated the appeal of a top scorer. Before he even returned with the supplies, my mom and I were still wiping the floor and tables. The nearby neighbors were practically collapsing our restaurant. Neighbors scrambled to help, even suggesting my mom change the restaurant's name from Success Hot Pot to Top Scorer Hot Pot. As they said this, my classmates happened to arrive. I almost covered my face and ran away. "Ethan, congratulations." Our class did well this time. Everyone passed the threshold for top universities, and quite a few got into key universities. 10 years of diligent study, a golden board in one morning. Truly, the spring breeze carries him swiftly, seeing all the Chang and flowers in one day. Everyone praised me, treated me well. But in my previous life, these were the same people who threw rotten knives and rotten eggs at me. People, huh? With the neighbors helping, our family business boomed, busy until midnight. All ingredients were sold out before we closed. The business of the entire street was boosted. The flower shop on the corner even gave us a huge bouquet of sunflowers, roses, carnations, and lilies, all bundled together. Even the owner thought it was heavy. I picked out the red carnations for my mother and a bouquet of red roses for my dad, telling him to give them to my mother. The sunflowers and lilies were placed in vases in the restaurant. The family of 3 walked home together. My parents walked intimately, hand in front. I followed behind, holding the flowers, and took a selfie with the red roses in the foreground. The background was our front door, also capturing Marley's house next door. As soon as I entered the house, the opposite door suddenly opened, revealing the somewhat fawning smiles of Marley's parents. "Boss Sheng, you're back so late?" My dad was a businessman. He naturally had a cheerful face. Even if they weren't usually friendly, he couldn't be cold now, so he smiled and said, "Yes, business was good today. The neighbors were all very supportive." After some polite small talk, everyone went back to their homes. I showered in a few minutes, quickly returning to my room, and indeed saw Luna Zheng accessing my personal page. This account of mine used my real name, and many classmates knew it. At this moment, many people were liking my posts, asking if I was in a relationship. I didn't answer any of them. Instead, I opened the camera on my window. Seeing the scene inside, I was so scared I screamed. She was right at the window, watching me. The camera was pointed directly at her dark, hollow eyes. My mother heard my scream and rushed in. "Ethan, what's wrong, son?" On the screen, Marley was pressing her ear to the wall, listening intently. I shoved my phone under my pillow, pulled out a charging cable from under my butt. "The charging cable poked my leg, Mom," my mother said loudly. "You're so big now, yet so careless. Let me see if your butt is okay." She pulled at my pants, wanting to check me. I repeatedly refused. It's fine, just a little pain." My mom glared at me. "Are you shy with your own mother?" Finally, she didn't insist on checking and closed the door as she left. Since being reborn, my window had always been tightly closed. I had considered drawing the curtains, but it felt too deliberate. What if my parents saw it and opened the window for me? At this moment, I quickly jumped up, pulled the curtains tightly shut, and put on my earphones. Looking back at the camera, Marley was still pressed against the wall, her eyes fixed on my window. Because of the angle, I couldn't see her face, but she realized that she couldn't hear any movement from my side, so she went mad, grabbing a dart, rushing to the foot of her bed, and aiming it at my half-body photo. I had no doubt that if I were in front of her, she would stab me 100 times. I quickly took out the hand grip strengthener hidden in my closet, exercising while reviewing the camera footage from a few days prior. I discovered that on the day the college entrance exam ended, Marley's parents took out a set of past exam papers and made her redo the questions she had just taken. She worked until 2:00 a.m. The next morning, the couple brutally beat her. Because Marley didn't do well, normally she could score 600 points, but her college exam score dropped by 50 points. She didn't even dare to guess answers, because if she wrote incorrectly and it didn't match her exam paper, she wouldn't be fed. All the snacks in her room were confiscated. That night, she stood by my window like a tormented spirit, watching all night. For the next few days, it was the same every day. Damn it, no horror movie is as horrifying as a girl across a wall, across a window, staring at me all night with black, hollow eyes. But what were these things compared to my entire family's tragic death in the previous life? I suppressed my discomfort, pulled the curtains halfway open, and leaned against the wall myself, taking a selfie from outside the window. The shot not only captured my profile but also Marley. Filters, stickers, beauty effects. The terrifying scene immediately transformed into a moody, atmospheric photo. This time I wrote the caption, "Don't be scared, I'm here." As expected, Luna Zhang was online in a second, and I deleted the post. I had also set the photo to be viewed only once. It couldn't be screenshotted or screen recorded. It left no trace on the platform but could leave a deep scar in the madman's heart. After deleting the post, I shared a song by Tin Kotai Ko Litosa. On Marley's room wall, there were many posters of this singer. I had even heard her playing this song before. This post. Luna Zhang accessed and listened to the song repeatedly from midnight until 4:00 a.m. For the next week, I did the same every day. Finally, the day before Luna Zhang was discharged from the hospital, in our middle school chat group, everyone organized a visit to him, and some classmates invited me along. I immediately left the group, blocking all remaining middle school classmates. The first thing Luna Zhang did after waking up was falsely accuse me of seeing death and not saving him. With such loud news, I don't believe they didn't know. Why pretend to be saints with me? I just wanted him to know how disgusted I was with him. And the more disgusted I was with him, the sweeter I was with Marley. Every night, listening to the same song, looking at the same starry sky. On the day Luna Zhang was discharged, our family of 3 packed our bags and went back to our hometown, taking all my high school materials with us. My mom told me, Marley's parents even came looking for me about this, saying their Marley didn't do well on her exams and wanted to retake them, and wanted to borrow your study materials. I said I had given them all to others. My dad said, "Those 2 used to look down on your mom and me. This time you brought honor to us, but we're not soft persimmons. On what grounds should we lend them to her?" News of me being the top scorer had just been announced. Everyone in the neighborhood came to our house, taking all my study materials, pens, even my desk mat was replaced. They brought tea, cigarettes, liquor, all sorts of gifts, being extremely polite. Although we didn't accept them, we appreciated their sincerity. On what grounds did her family have the nerve to ask? My dad was ecstatic, over the moon. He hid all my key study materials. This time, we brought them back to our hometown for my cousins to use, so that in the future, our family would have more academic talents. Sure enough, my grandparents, uncles, and aunts at home almost revered us. They praised me as a Wencheng star descended to the mortal world. The day I held my college admission celebration in my hometown was also the day of Luna Zheng's class reunion. I spent the whole day entertaining relatives and only had a moment to go online. From the social media feeds of some high school classmates, I saw that they indeed had a class reunion that evening. Marley and Luna Zheng were even at the same party. In the afternoon, my grandpa took me to the ancestral graves to offer incense, informing our ancestors that our family had a top scorer. In the swirling smoke, I bowed before my ancestors, praying, hoping that Luna Zheng's madness would strike tonight, taking Marley with him. I never expected my ancestors to be truly efficacious. Late at night, I was almost asleep when my phone woke me. The caller was a classmate. "Ethan, Luna Zheng is dead?" I opened the middle school chat group and saw many photos and videos being posted continuously, quickly piecing together what happened right on the street not far from my house. After the class reunion, some classmates were chatting, others waiting for cars. Marley and Luna Zheng were walking together. It's unclear what they said, but they suddenly got into a fierce argument. Everyone only heard a few phrases. It turned out that on the day of the college entrance exam, Luna Zheng was waiting for the bus, talking on the phone with Marley, and became agitated, which triggered his heart attack. The two seemed to have a deep-seated grudge and fought fiercely. Just then, a speeding dump truck carrying sand rushed past. Luna Zheng suddenly used force to push Marley into the road. Marley was also ruthless. She grabbed hold of him. Both were simultaneously dragged under the truck. Luna Zheng died instantly, his neck broken, while Marley had both legs broken and was dragged for a distance, her body severely scraped. A pool of blood and flesh lay on the ground, and in my previous life, my parents died the same way. The classmates at the scene were either crying from fear or throwing up from terror. It was passers-by who called the police. Only when the police arrived were they each taken home by their parents. I lay under my blanket, laughing loudly, laughing until tears streamed down my face. Marley was in critical condition for 2 days before she woke up. I heard that everything below her hips had to be amputated, and most of the skin on her body was abraded, so only fish skin could be grafted. The dump truck was found to be an old vehicle nearing the end of its useful life, and the driver was an ordinary motorist. In short, they couldn't pay much compensation. After our college admissions celebration party, we stayed 2 more days before returning to Jiangcheng. As soon as we reached the entrance of the apartment complex, we saw a group of people pulling a crude cart, aggressively heading towards the complex. I recognized the person leading them as Luna Zheng's father and quickly urged my dad, "Let's go to the restaurant." We parked the car, stored it in the restaurant, and went back to the complex to watch the commotion. Only then did we realize that what Luna Zheng's family was pulling on the cart was Luna Zheng's corpse. With such hot weather, even with some ice, it already smelled. Everyone kept their distance, only standing far away, gossiping loudly, saying Luna Zheng's family was unreasonable, that it was clearly Luna Zheng who pushed Marley. But was Luna Zheng's family reasonable people? The phrase, "the deceased is always right," had already secured them the highest moral ground, just like in my previous life when I even saved Luna Zheng. Didn't they act the same way then? Marley's parents closed their doors and didn't come out. That night, they secretly moved away. Luna Zheng's family continuously caused trouble. After causing trouble in the apartment complex, they went to the schools where Marley's parents worked, raising banners and wailing as if at a funeral. They didn't even bury Luna Zheng right away, instead crying and wailing online, to the point where even the police couldn't control them. Marley's family was exposed, revealing that Marley's parents, while at school, had ignored student bullying, accepted money from parents, and used high-pressure educational methods that led to student depression, and so on. Their reputation was ruined. I took advantage of the chaos, leading netizens to expose Marley's secondary account for dog and cat abuse. For a time, this caused nationwide outrage. Her social media page was filled with curses. Extreme dog and cat lovers threw feces into her hospital room, set up an online altar for her, cursing her whole family as devils. They deserve to die 1,000 deaths. The things that happened to my family in my previous life were all replayed on their family. But even that wasn't enough. the matter wasn't over. Every day I had to stay vigilant, not daring to be even slightly careless. I always carried a hand grip strengthener to exercise. If anything happened, I could use it as a weapon. Judging by Marley's parents' teaching methods, they weren't ordinary people. Now their daughter was crippled, they had lost money, jobs, and reputation at the end of their rope. One was a biology teacher, the other a chemistry teacher. Who knew what they might do? What if they turned into madmen, desperate individuals? Every day, I was like Lynn Dayu, meticulously on guard, like a child, clinging to my parents all day, not letting them go anywhere alone. My parents initially thought I was joking. After hearing my analysis, they also became more cautious, until a week later, the official announcement of a serious mass poisoning incident. The dump truck company, for humanitarian reasons, compensated Luna Zheng's family 500,000 yuan. Luna Zheng's body really couldn't be kept any longer. Luna Zheng's parents then finally returned to their hometown to hold the funeral. Luna Zheng's parents, after exposing Marley's parents' despicable behavior, had tasted the sweetness of viral traffic. They not only invited the entire village to the banquet, but also many view-seeking bloggers, saying they wanted to continue condemning the Marley family of 3 until they confessed their crimes. Hundreds of people live-streamed simultaneously, seeking views without end, making the scene ridiculous and humorous, resembling a press conference more than a funeral. The result was that as soon as the dishes were served, everyone dropped dead from poisoning. Friends, it was live-streamed. I heard the number of online viewers exceeded 1 million people. Imagine the depth of their psychological darkness. The culprits were Marley's parents.